So I'm continuing on with the Burroughs book that I'm reading, and I'm a few chapters in. And when you see the kind of ideas that he's talking about, you marvel at the idea that it's done before the internet was a thing. But of course, there were always ways of getting information from people um, that you socialized with. And he was a very creative person and hung out with loads of different writers and arty types. And they could discuss their ideas about culture and society and how it worked. And um, some of his ideas were about control. He covers those a lot in the book, and that society is about controlling people. And a lot of the control happens through language. And I think he's a good person for a writer to read as well, because you start to question the function of language. And if you're not already really clear about language being a system where symbols are used to stand in place of things, it would certainly sort you out, and that would make you think about it a lot. But he argues that language is a virus. I was talking about that in the last video, but he goes into those ideas more. And there's a kind of, he uses cut up techniques, and there's some examples of cut up stories in this book mixed in with the interview style, which is very interesting and would lead you to want to read the other books. So it does seem to be functioning as a good introduction to the other books, even for somebody who hasn't read any of the books. Like I told you the last time, I've read A Naked Lunch, but I haven't read any of the other ones. So it's good for introducing some of his ideas. And some of his ideas are pretty wild. And the language being a virus thing, he doesn't really mean it literally. I heard somebody saying he meant it literally. He doesn't really mean it literally. What he means is that it spreads ideas in people's minds like a virus, and you could link that up with the idea that he's talking about society and the way society is run as a mechanism for controlling people with. That language is a very handy to utilize thing for that. And he talks about the idea of a nation and the idea of the family unit being very important to those that control idea as well, controlling populations. And the time that a lot of his books were written, there were lots of events in America that were changing society completely. So, of course, he's talking about atom bombs, he's talking about revolutions, and he's talking about youth culture changing the world very much. And starting really in America, you could think of it as a lot of the student riots and everything. But he's very concerned with all that kind of thing. But it's all very still reads in a fairly fresh kind of a way, even when he's referring to some events that are not of our time, like Watergate and things like that. I think that they, we can see how they stand in for other things that are similar sort of events in our own lifetimes. He's very, very funny about things as well, though. And where truth ends and fiction begins is definitely a question. I'm discovering that, the further I read, you ask yourself, well, he was a Scientologist. I think he left eventually, but he was a Scientologist and believed in kind of auditing and all kinds of things. And he believed in a lot of sort of therapy ideas that were not just psychoanalytical ideas, but a bit further off in the hard to believe category. And these shade into not being completely truthful. Like some of the stuff on laser technology and patented technology for um, um, infra sound technologies. Some of the details are correct and some of the details aren't correct, and you're not sure what he's done on purpose and what is just a mistake or his genuine belief or whatever. But it is very fun the way he puts it together, and the paranoia does feed into the whole creativity of the writing, you see. So it works. It works, but you'd be in trouble if you took all of it seriously, you know. Um, However, I still have about half the book to go, and I'm looking forward to seeing what's up next. More of the same, but I'm sure I'll get a few new, interesting ideas as well on the rest of it, and I will come back and tell you about those, and tell you how I enjoyed the book as a whole, I suppose, when I finish it. See you then.